welcome or welcome back to the Gamer's Hearth. I hope you're having an amazing day today. This episode is going to be a little bit more of a chatty, off-the-cuff sort of episode because I want to talk about my life as a cozy gaming content creator, a full-time cozy gaming content creator. I'm going to talk about how I got here, what I do, how much money I make, daily routine, weekly routine, all that good stuff. So whether you are an aspiring full-time content creator or if you're not and you just like peeks behind the scenes of other people's life, this one is going to be for y'all. We are going to start with a little news segment. I think the biggest thing that I want to talk about with news is what we can expect in some of the events that are coming up next month with Summer Game Fest. The showcase is on June 7th at 2 p.m. PT. You can stream that on their YouTube and I think their Twitch. I'm going to leave a link to a bunch of websites and stuff that you can get more information about these things if you want to watch them. So Summer Game Fest is a gaming event that takes place over a series of showcases. They're going to be focusing a lot on upcoming games with lots of premieres, announcements, deep dives, all that kind of stuff. I'm very excited that I'm going to be attending, and so I'll be sharing a lot and tweeting about my experience. So if you want to see anything about that, you can be sure to follow me on Twitter, on TikTok, IG. I'll be posting over there about that kind of stuff. Within that, there are a couple of really cool showcases. So the main showcase, that's like kind of the kickoff event, but there are also a lot of other cool showcases and stuff that are going to be happening. So one of them is the Wholesome Direct. The Wholesome Direct is June 8th at 9 a.m. PT. That one's really popular in the cozy gaming space. They're going to have a lot of cool announcements about upcoming cozy games, so I'm definitely going to be covering that as well. Women-led games is another showcase happening on June 8th at 11:30 PT. So that one is going to be happening shortly after the Wholesome Direct, and obviously that one's going to have a focus on games that are led by women. So I do expect that we'll have some cozy and some non-cozy games showcased in that one. And then the Latin American Game Showcase is June 8th at 10 a.m. PT. So that one is going to also be, it looks like it's going to be basically like Wholesome Direct and then Latin American Game Showcase and then women-led games. So those are all really exciting showcases that are going to have a lot of really good games shown. And then the next really exciting thing is Steam Next Fest, which is June 10th to June 17th. That's a really amazing event where they're just showcasing games that are coming up, right? Next Fest, games that are coming up next. And what's really, really cool about this event is that there's so many demos. I'm already seeing so many cozy developers saying that they're going to have their demos for their games. I know Tiny Glade is going to have a demo. Camper Van, Make It Home, Love Ghosty actually has a demo out already now. They released theirs a little bit early. Lots of good games. And again, I'm going to be providing coverage on my Twitter and my TikTok and my Instagram of all the games that I'm checking out there. Unfortunately, it does overlap to a certain extent with the time that I'm going to be in LA, but I'm going to do my best to be on top of it and make sure that I'm showing out all the cool demos to play. Just kind of a big picture of what it is that I basically do. I'm a full-time cozy gaming content creator. My main platforms are TikTok and Twitch and YouTube, kind of. I'm still kind of building up my YouTube presence, but I would say my breadwinner is my TikTok. I post there almost every single day about various gaming topics. That's where I first started posting content. It's by far my largest platform, and that's really kind of how I got my start. And then I do this podcast, obviously. I post other YouTube videos, and I also stream on Twitch. So those are my main areas that I am in. As I mentioned earlier, I got started on TikTok, and I started posting on TikTok in March of 2021. I'm just another one of those people who started posting content pretty much because of the pandemic. So I downloaded TikTok in like March, April of 2020, just because of lockdown. And I just was like, let me see what this is all about, just for something to do, right? Some entertainment. That is where I first, over time, started seeing a lot of really cool gaming content that I really liked. Some of it was cozy gaming content, some of it was not cozy gaming content. I have always been a person who felt like I wanted to be self-employed. I started an Etsy shop for a while. I started like a lifestyle blog for a little while. It's just something that I've kind of always wanted, but never really found the right medium for me, I guess, or like the right thing to talk about. So I decided around like early 2021 that I wanted to dive into content creation and Twitch streaming. When I started posting on TikTok, it was actually for the purpose of getting people to go over to my Twitch. I watched all these videos, these YouTube videos about stream growth, and they said the best way that you need to grow on Twitch is you need to be posting on other platforms. And so I was like, cool, I'm gonna post on TikTok. I'm gonna try to build up somewhat of a community on TikTok first, and then I'll use that to move over into Twitch. What's kind of funny is that what ended up really happening is that TikTok has become my main area. It's my favorite platform. It's the one I focus on the most. So that's just kind of funny how that worked out. I didn't really foresee that. When I first started posting on TikTok, I wasn't really sure exactly what niche I wanted to move into. I knew that I wanted to do something in gaming, but I didn't know exactly where I wanted to land. And so I decided that I was just going to start posting random, not really random, but I was going to start posting a lot of different things and just kind of see what sticks, what I like to make. And so I think my very first TikTok video was an unboxing of a Razer keyboard, because I decided that alongside this, one of the things that I was going to be posting about was building my PC and redoing my PC setup. She was cute. Like, I have fond memories of her. You know, I played Dragon Age Inquisition for the first time on that PC, but I knew that I wanted something a little bit more aesthetic, more to my taste. And so I was going to be posting about that, you know, as I was doing it, posting it on TikTok. I was also thinking about making World of Warcraft content, because I have always been a huge, like, avid World of Warcraft player. And especially at that time, I was playing tons and tons and tons of World of Warcraft. And so I was like, maybe I'll do World of Warcraft content. And ended up naming my account Laylindria, which has now become kind of like my pseudonym online. Laylindria is actually the name of my WoW character, my main WoW character. I was trying to figure out what to name my account, so I just decided to name my account Laylindria, because I was like, I'll be making WoW content, it'll work. I do make some WoW content, but I've kind of gone into the niche of like cozy World of Warcraft content so that it kind of still stays in line with my cozy gaming content, but that's a whole other tangent. But that's why I named my account that. And so I was posting different things, just trying to see what I liked making. And my first video that went somewhat viral was a video that I called Cozy Games to Keep on Your Radar, Coral Island. And it was literally a video of me like scrolling through my iPad on the Coral Island Kickstarter page with a voiceover of, oh my god, I'm so excited about this game. There's so many hot people in this game. Cozy Games to Keep on Your Radar, Part 1. One of the games that I'm most excited about coming out is Coral Island. It's a farm sim game, but it takes place on an island, and I really love the art style and the cast of characters. And I got like 200,000 views. That video also got me over my first 1,000 followers. And so I started this whole series, Cozy Games to Keep on Your Radar. That has kind of morphed into my niche. If I'm being honest with myself, I haven't had this like massive exponential growth, but I'm still growing, and I'm still really happy with the community that I've built and my space and all that. I was growing pretty quickly, especially at the beginning in like 2021, 2022. And I feel like just in general, like the way that I grew my platform was that from day one, I took it very, very, very seriously. I treated it as a job. From day one, I was dedicated to posting every single day on TikTok, especially at the beginning. I was like, I would get sick, like literally sick if I missed a day. I think that that was really good to treat it so seriously, because let me back up and just say that at the time, I did have a full-time job. I was a teacher. I would come home and I would make a TikTok. And I think another thing that really helped me grow in the beginning was that I was really focusing on just a few platforms at one time. So at the beginning, I was just focusing on TikTok. That was it. No YouTube, no Twitch, no nothing like that, just TikTok. And so I put all of my energy into TikTok, and I think that that really helped me. And I have branched out into other platforms over time. I also, like I mentioned earlier, I think that one thing that helped me was that I was really paying attention to what was working, and I was making more of that. After I posted the Coral Island video and it did really well, I posted another one. I think the second one was Potion Permit, if I remember correctly. That one also went viral. So I was like, this is it. This is what is working for me. This is what I feel confident in. And I liked to make those a lot. I would kind of really pay attention to those things, and I would shift my content strategy, if you will, to match that. You have to continually be reflecting and being willing to shift strategies. It's a very long process of continually checking in with yourself, checking in with your content, seeing what's working, seeing what's not, navigating the shifts in the algorithm and the shifts in the trends and all this stuff. I stopped teaching in 2022 because I got a job working at an indie game studio. I worked for Studio Dry Dock for a little over a year as their community manager, focusing obviously on their game, Wildflowers. That was an amazing job that taught me so much about building a community. It taught me so much about game dev. Also started working harder on my own content. What if I took my content super seriously and tried to do that full time? So that was a really tough time because I was working full time at my job. And then I was also working probably an extra like 30 hours a week on my content. A big part of my job was creating content. That was fun. I loved doing that, but it was very difficult to do that and then also still have anything left to give to my own content. And so I was really struggling. And eventually I had to make a choice. I can't do both anymore. I'm exhausted. I'm drained. I have nothing left to give. It's either going to be full-time content, full-time job, but I can't do both. At one point, I was actually like truthfully this close to just stopping making any content at all. I don't think I've ever told anyone that before. So this is just me being like really raw and open, but it was a struggle. Mental health was at an all-time low. It was
not a good situation.
So I decided that I needed to make that leap of faith and I needed to do it. It was going to be a pay cut, but I was still making money. I was earning money, and we'll talk about how that was in just a second. You know, it wasn't just I was like leaping off the cliff into nothing, right? I did have an income stream, multiple income streams. Let's talk about how I make money and approximately how much I make. A vast majority of my income comes from sponsorships on my TikTok page. Brands reach out to me and they say that they want me to do a sponsored post on my TikTok page, and so they pay me for that. But I do always try to keep things honest, and like I've definitely turned down sponsorships before that weren't what I felt like was going to be a good fit, or if it was something that I didn't like the product. I always try to stay true to myself, and I also try to guard my community, and I'm not going to do anything that I don't feel is in the best interest of myself and my community. I have 209,000 followers on TikTok, and on any given month, I get about $3,000 to $4,000 from sponsorships. Now, this is on average. This varies a lot. Sometimes I get more than others. Sometimes I get 1,000, 2,000, and then sometimes I get 7,000. It just really kind of depends. And that is definitely something that you have to think about as a content creator, is that especially if you're someone like me who gets most of your money from brand sponsorships. And I'm going to be honest with y'all, relying on sponsorships for income is a risk. Okay, it's definitely a risk because you don't know when that's going to come, when that could dry up. And I also want to say that I am in an extremely privileged position, that I am married and I have a partner who has a 9-to-5 and gets a steady paycheck. And I feel like in my situation, I can afford a little bit more risk. I will say though, we do rely on this income to a certain extent, but we don't solely rely on my income. So we do have a little bit more wiggle room and we can afford a little bit more risk. So I just want to say that off the bat. I want to be very careful with what I'm saying. And I don't want to be like,
hey, like you have 200,000 followers on TikTok, like quit your job. It's great.
If you are someone who's considering going full time with your content, I don't think that you should use my numbers necessarily as like a justification for that. Like that's something that you really need to, you need to look at your bills, you need to look at your income and have a very hard look at that. We got that disclosure out of the way. I would say 99% of my sponsorships go through TikTok. I think I've maybe had like one sponsored stream. I've never had anything on Instagram unless they were paying extra for me to cross post my TikTok video to Instagram. I have 4.5 1.5K on YouTube, and I am a YouTube partner, but I don't make a lot of money from YouTube. I make anywhere from like $200 to $300 a month on YouTube. I have almost 5,000 followers on Twitch with around 30 average viewers. I am a Twitch affiliate, not a Twitch partner, and I make about $150 to $200 a month on Twitch. I also have a Ko-fi that I have memberships to, and I make about $60 a month from my Ko-fi memberships. So that's my income. That is what I make monthly. It very much varies. Like none of this is like a firm paycheck that I get every single time. And now I want to talk about what an average week in my life looks like. I'm going to talk about an average week, and then I'm going to talk about an average day. This is my basic schedule that I try to stick to as closely as possible. Obviously, things change. Sometimes I'll have an appointment or an event during the day and I need to switch things up a little bit. Life happens, but basically I do all of my TikToks for the week on Mondays. I do long form filming on Fridays, but if there's any leftover filming that needs to be done that I didn't get done on Friday, then I'll finish that up on Monday. On Tuesdays, I edit. I also have a standing coffee date on Tuesdays with a friend that is also self-employed. We meet up at a coffee shop and we work together, and I usually do editing while we're there. On Wednesdays, I stream, and I usually also edit on Wednesdays. So I'll edit before the stream, I'll stream, and then I'll edit after the stream. I stream for around 3 hours. I also stream on Thursdays. On Thursdays, I usually do a co-working stream, so I'm working on tasks during the stream. This is usually when I do planning and writing. So I'll plan out my TikToks ahead, I'll write the scripts, I'll plan out YouTube videos, podcasts, write the scripts. That's usually what I do on Thursdays. On Fridays, I also stream, and like I said earlier, I do long form filming. So I film any of my long form content that I need to film on Fridays, and then I stream, and then I usually take off after that. So I'm usually wrapped up by around 3 or so on Fridays, and then I don't do any work on Saturdays. I'm usually pretty logged off on Saturdays. Sundays, I will spend a little bit of time doing some planning. So I'll sit down with my Notion calendar, plan out some TikToks, plan out some stuff, just kind of do that sort of maintenance kind of thing. But I really only do that for a few hours, and then I also try to just relax on Sundays, or I do like household chores. So that's how I kind of do my content for the week. And I very much operate on like a weekly schedule. I feel like a lot of people really thrive by doing batched content, meaning on one day a month they'll film 4 YouTube videos and they'll be set for YouTube videos. Or on one day or 2 days a month they'll film like 60 TikToks and they'll be set for TikToks. I don't do that because I feel like what I want to do changes a lot. Because I kind of deal in news and I deal a little bit more in like the current events of things, I feel like I need to be on my toes more, and I need to have less time in between planning and actually executing content. I kind of just let the vibes take me where they will for my content. I'll find out about a game and I'll want to make a video about that game right away. Or I'll be like, I just learned about this game, I need to make sure I do a video about it this week. So I don't usually do stuff a ton in advance. I feel like sometimes I feel judged for that, or maybe not judged for that, but I feel weird about telling people that, because when I talk to other content creators, they're like,
oh no, I have my YouTube video made for like 4 months in advance.
I usually lay out ideas for the videos that I want to do about a month in advance, but I don't actually go through with filming them until 1 or maybe 2 weeks ahead of time, depending on how much extra time I have. And my calendar changes a lot all the time based on what's happening in the world, what's happening in gaming. And so I don't know, I always feel kind of weird about telling people, yeah, I just do it like that week or I do it the week before. That's just how I do it. That's how I do it. It works for me.
I don't know.
On the daily, I wake up early, usually around 6:30 or 7 a.m., drink coffee, and I usually go for a walk around 8. And then I have breakfast at around 9. I usually have like a protein smoothie or something like that. And then I usually start my work while I'm eating. So I take my smoothie or whatever to my desk and I sit down at my desk. And usually, like, to start the day, I very much ease into it. I have to ease my brain into things. So I just kind of sit down and and I review whatever tasks I need to do for the day. I'll look at my calendar, I'll look at my content calendar, I'll check my email, and then I do a little bit of like post engagement. So I'll check, whatever videos or whatever I posted the day before, I'll check those, I'll respond to comments. After I've kind of sat there and woken up a little bit, if I need to wear makeup that day, I don't wear makeup every single day, but if I need to wear makeup that day because I'm streaming or I'm filming, I'll go do that. And then whatever task I have for the day, whether it's editing, whether it's filming, I'll get started around like, I don't know, 10 maybe. It just kind of depends. The morning is going to look different depending on what I'm doing that day. Somewhere in there I do lunch. It depends on my stream time. Before stream, after stream, sometimes during stream. That just very much depends on the situation. In the afternoon / after stream, if it was a stream day, I do posting typically. So the goal is to post one TikTok every single day. I try to post on Instagram and YouTube Shorts 4 or 5 days a week, and that's just a cross post. And I do any like outstanding tasks, anything that needs to be done. And then I try to stop by 6 every night. Sometimes I knock off earlier if my brain is really fried and I feel good about what I've done. Sometimes I get really hyperfixated and I just work really, really late. It depends. Now I want to just interject here and also kind of wrap up by talking about mental health. So all of what I've just told you is the ideal situation. Does it look like that every day or every week?
No.
I do have depression and anxiety diagnosed from my doctor, and I do take medication for it, which helps a lot. I struggle a lot in general with like energy levels, executive function, and then of course like the depression. I will sometimes have really, really dark days that seem to pop out of nowhere, and then I just can't do anything. I do think that overall, my depression and my anxiety and my executive dysfunction tends to affect my productivity overall, not just on those really dark days, but just overall, it affects my productivity. And honestly, it does get to me a lot sometimes. The hardest thing I think about being a content creator is comparison. It is so hard to look at other content creators and number one, see like them get opportunities that you didn't get, or to see growth that you're not getting. That's hard, but then it's also hard to see things like, oh, well, they're posting on YouTube 3 days a week. If they can do it, why can't I do it? Why am I not posting on YouTube 3 times a week? Why am I not posting 3 TikToks a day? And you just have to remember that everybody's situation is different, right? Everybody has a different amount of time. They have different methods. They have different types of content that they're posting. Maybe they don't struggle with something that you do struggle with, but they will also have their own individual struggles. I don't really know if I have a good answer for it, except for to just keep going. You just have to think about what lessons that you can learn from that. If I'm jealous of someone who's posting 3 times a day on YouTube, then like, what is that actually telling me? YouTube is something that is important to me. YouTube is something that I feel like I want to be doing more. Okay, so maybe I can't do 3 YouTube videos a week, but where can I find the time or the energy, or where can I find different systems to put into place in order to increase my YouTube a little bit? Maybe I am going to start focusing on being consistent with 1 video a week, or maybe I'm already doing that and maybe I can increase to 2, or maybe I can do 1 every single week and then have a second video in the week every now and then when I can, when I have the time. Try to remove yourself from the emotions of it and pretend that you are somebody that's looking down on a situation. Like, try to detach. Obviously, you're going to be emotional about it, and that's fine, but pretend. Say in your mind, I'm somebody that is just watching this situation. If this person is jealous of this person, like, remove yourself, right? This person is jealous of this person for this reason. What would I tell that person to do? Where do I think that that's coming from? Pretend you're your own therapist and you can kind of figure out the root of that and see if you can find a solution going forward. When I'm having a bad day, when I'm having one of my really dark days, I sometimes either give myself the day off completely if it's really, really bad, and I just don't do anything. I just lay in bed and I tell myself that this is care, like I'm caring for myself. Or sometimes if it's bad, but I still feel like I can function, I will shift my tasks to something that takes a lot less mental, emotional, or physical energy, or like less of a toll on me. So for example, filming. When I'm having a really bad day, filming is not it. If it's my filming day and I wake up and I'm just like, I'm glued to my bed. I'm stuck. Like I feel like the weight is on me and I physically can't move. Then I will say, okay, well, let me shift things around in my schedule. And I do have some editing that I need to do. So I can lay in my bed and edit, or I can lay in my bed and I can write, or I can plan, or I can do different things like that. I usually try to, shift my tasks around to do what I feel that I'm capable of doing. And I think that's really basically it. I definitely would love to answer y'all's questions. If you have any questions about what I do on the daily, if y'all want to talk about anything to do with like sponsorships or anything, mental health, anything like that, I am an open book. I am more than willing to talk to y'all about that kind of stuff. So please leave me a comment, or you can email me at gamershearthpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you all so much for watching or listening. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you next time we gather around the hearth. Bye, everyone.